This is where the fun begins.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
What kept you?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's coffee chat. I hope you guys are all doing well on this beautiful Thursday morning. Well, where I'm at, it's morning time still. So if you're going in the afternoon or evening, wherever you are, cheers to you. And thank you for coming in on coffee chat and participating in our discussion today. And I have some great, well, I wouldn't say it's great, but I have some, well, I could say great cringe factor, if I could even talk. So it's going to make you guys think, might make you upset. We'll see how that goes. And I have a little bit of the sun shining on me right there. But first and foremost, what is in your mug today? So what are you enjoying? What are you sipping on as we sit down and have coffee together here for Star Wars Coffee Chat? Let me see who's all popping in here. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I am linking my channel now is being synced with Rumble. So go over to Rumble and find me on Rumble as well. And if you are watching on the replay, thank you so much for your continued support of my channel. And I greatly appreciate it. If you are a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. If you're a new member, thank you so much for your continued support. And to all the members and subscribers, thank you so much. Yeah, so let's see who's all here today. And yes, I am on Rumble, so follow me on Rumble. Excuse me. So, and I also have the poll up. So let's go ahead and check that out here. The poll is, what is your favorite Star Destroyer design? And I have the Venator class. So if you really don't know much about the Star Destroyers, I'm just going to go ahead and break that down to you. Then I'll say hi to everybody in the chat. So the Venator class, basically that's from the Clone Wars era. And that's also considered the Jedi flagship. And then the Nebula are Defender class. And that is used during the Yuuzhan Vong War, which kind of looks very similar to the Venator class. So if you have a chance to take a look at that and research it, they have similar color designs and stuff. And then you have the Pelion class, which goes all the way to the Fel Empire. It incorporated the elements of the Executor class Star Dreadnought, which I shared on Twitter. That is the image I shared on Twitter when I announced about the poll being up last night when I created the channel for Coffee Chat. And so that is from Fel Empire. And then the Turbulent class basically is a small Star Destroyer fielded towards the end of the Second Galactic Civil War. So that's when we had Darth Plagueis, and all that happening during that time frame before Luke is sent into exile. So those are the different Star Destroyer designs, or classes. And so far, we have the Venator class at 58%, then the Nebula Defender class at 25%, the Pelion class is at 8%, and the Turbulent class is at 8%. So there we go. Yeah, let's see here. So there you go. So please go and vote your favorite class or your favorite design class. And if you have any questions about that, or if you want to share anything about that while we're in chat so other people can kind of stay up on what's going on with the poll and all that, go ahead and feel free to share additional information. I don't mind. This is what Coffee Chat's about, even if it's not fully the subject. I love to see people sharing about other things as well. So Batsy Universe is here, and good morning. OG and chat, thank you so much. And Revan, hello, Revan. What has the High Republic gotten to now? Well, we'll find out during Cringe Factor. Excuse me. And then we have Zaggerot315. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning, y'all. And Inquisitor says, good morning, all. Good morning to you and channel member Orange Chat Review, which I do have Talking EU with him this Saturday. So stay tuned for that and come join us and see how he got into Star Wars, his favorite characters, all that fun stuff. It's all about Orange Chat Review and his adventure into Star Wars. Batsy says, let me see here. In before Rey Palpatine is the new chosen one. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll get into that. But one of our topics here today is also Darth Plagueis and the Rule of Two and all that is associated around that. So let me know if you guys have read the Darth Plagueis novel and, what do you rate it? So you can put yes and 10 you like it and 1 or 0, nah, you don't even care for it. So go ahead and let me know in the chat, yes or no. And then if yes, what do you rate it as? So that I know who knows a little bit more about Plagueis's history and all that. It's a pretty good novel for myself. I liked it. Many people do, but just share in the chat below. Let me know. And then Orange Hat says, coffee with sugar and hazelnut creamer. Sounds pretty good to me. And then plain black coffee. Awesome. I love drinking plain black coffee when we're camping or whatever. It just feels, it's like something so hearty, warming, and just something strong that helps wake you up when you wake up to the campfire and you have your coffee in the camp kettle there. And you just go ahead and grab your mug or your thermos and just pour it, sit down and sit next to the fire, and there you go, and just have a great or a beautiful morning in camp. And so there's something so nostalgic about that, I guess you could say, is a campfire coffee. And then Holocron Library Fox is here. Good morning, Laura, with a heart. Hello, chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And then Bateau says, Haya or Hia. So I say, yeah, you say Haya. I think it's Haya or whatever, but in my language, Lakota, that's how you spell no, Hia. Hia means no. So I'm just sharing something. I know you're not telling me no or anything, but I just thought I'd share that fun little fact. Iron Inquisitor says, I've read about a third of the Plagueis. It's pretty good from what I've read. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear what you think about it after you completed it. So, and let me see here. An Orange Hat Review says, Plagueis, my favorite Rule of Two Sith. Yes, I have read it. 9 out of 10. Point off for adding Filoni tainted it. Yeah, that's when they changed Maul's origin, which they should have just left alone. They should have just left it alone. I mean, seriously. I mean, there was nothing hard about just keeping his origins and not even really mentioning it or just keeping it that way. Even if he has a brother, they could still have been, from the planet he was originally from. And then, yeah. So Plagueis here, the Cringe Factor is will be coming up. I have to leave here about 10:30, so an hour and a half. So if you're tuning in, please go vote on your favorite Star Destroyer design. There's 4 classes I put up there. And then, yeah, so go vote for that. And the Cringe Factor is how the High Republic is changing the prophecy to the chosen one. So I don't know if I want to get into that now and then lead into talking about Plagueis and stuff like that, or if I want to talk about Plagueis and then lead into that. I think it might be better if I lead into Cringe Factor first today, and then we could just go into Plagueis, the chosen one, the Rule of Two, the history with Plagueis, of course, because Plagueis is such an interesting character. It's when I first read it, we know how powerful he is and how manipulative he is, and how in his brilliance, but also with his power, he also seems very fragile. So it sounds weird. I know it sounds weird, but to me, he was very powerful as a Force user Sith. Tenebris, did at first was not training him to his fullest potential. However, Plagueis caught on and stuff, and started learning more, and that's how Plagueis basically taught Sidious. But that's how the rule of two. They don't teach the apprentices to the full potential. They want them to crave that power and want to learn to be manipulative, all of that for the rule of two. And then once they have gained that power, that knowledge, whatever, they are strong enough to kill their master. And I think they do that in a brilliant way, the masters, because if they taught everything to their apprentice, then their lives are going to end sooner. So I guess, but to me, like I said, Plagueis, he seemed, fragile in a sense, maybe just the body wise and stuff like that, but was very, very strong. And and that's one reason how Palpatine ended up killing him too. So the man was so powerful, but he was fragile. And but both of them were great manipulators. So so I see people are popping in, and please go check out the poll, and let me go ahead and read the poll ratings. And I think it still stayed the same. Yes, it did. So Venerator class is 58, Nebula Defender class is 25, and the Pelion and Turbulent classes are at 8%. They're tied right now. So let me see what you have to say. They also want their apprentice to seek out knowledge, correct, for themselves, which shows the initiative. Yeah, because we've seen, like, even Bane, when he started creating the rule of two with him and his apprentice, he was worried about her. He was like wondering if he should just off her or get rid of her, basically, and find a new apprentice and stuff, because she didn't seem like she was interested in things however she was. So there's that mind trick, that back and forth between the apprentice and the master, and it's intriguing. It's very, very intriguing. Let's see here. Hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. Thank you so much, Iris. And good morning to you. And what's in your mug? What are you enjoying? And this, I'm using since we're talking about Sith and stuff, even though she's like an acolyte or a, for Doku and stuff like that, I just thought I'd share. So, and you can find this all on my Redbubble. So, though I prefer to collect Black Series, okay, so there's a conversation going on that I didn't read, but that's okay. And then, hello, Matchy, how you doing? Long time no see. 4 cups of coffee. Wow, you are just starting really strong, aren't you? And good morning to you. Good morning from Cali. My friend JJ Plagiarism designed this profile picture for me. That's pretty cool. I like that, Iron. That's awesome. It's like a bobblehead, huh? That's pretty cool. All right. The Acolyte show will probably overwrite the HR books and comics. Maybe, but you know what? All of these contents, like from the shows and the books and stuff, they're all contradicting themselves. So I don't think it's a rewrite. I just don't think they care. Yeah, Zana had talents in other areas. He recognized he could teach her little because she had talents in Sith sorcery. He was more of a primal force user, but could use force lightning really well. Yeah. But I would just remember the time when he was questioning her abilities and stuff like that. So that was very, very intriguing on that. So let's see here. Love your cherry dress photo. I had to listen to Cherry Girl by AKB4. Well, okay. I'm glad that it inspired you to do that. And thank you so much. I still have it. Maybe one day when it's warmer here in my studio, because I don't have central air in here. So there's no heater and there's no AC. So I have to use a fan or a floor heater or whatever. So maybe one day I'll wear that for you guys on Coffee Chats when it gets a little warmer in here. I love that dress. It's a vintage kind of style dress. And so I like that. Let's see here. And then Revan says, OG Star Wars. Is Roan Fel technically a secret Skywalker? Roan Fel, that is, isn't that Jaina and Fel's, if I'm getting the getting it right. Ronfell is from the Fell era, the Fell Empire. That he would be Jaina and Jagged's descendant, basically. So, and Jaina is a Skywalker. So, yeah. And then we have Mr. George Lucas here. Cheers to you, George. Yeah. So I think we will share the cringe factor, and then we'll get more into Plagueis, more into the lore and all of that, so that we can have the discussion, and then we can stray away from it and really talk and discuss about the Rilatu, the Chosen One prophecy, what that means, and all of that, and get into more of the lore. And I see people are popping in now, so please go vote on the poll. Maybe I will state one more time what those classes are so that you guys have an idea. But I'm pretty sure one of them you may know from the movies. So Benzo, hello. So did the High Republic change it to where Leia's the chosen one? No. Why would they do that? She's a Skywalker. And then Bone says, hey, OG. Good morning to you. And James Unchained. Morning, all. Good morning to you. So go vote. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know each of the class, Star Destroyer design class that I am having you vote on. So if you don't recognize some of them, then you can take a look and or you can kind of plan out what you want, what you want to vote on. So the Venerator class is the Clone Wars era Jedi flagship. So we see that in the movies. The Nebula Defender class is used during the Yuuzhan Vong War, and the Nebula or Defender class looks very similar to the Venerator class in color and a little bit of the design. The Pelion class is from the Fell Empire era, and it is incorporated elements of the Executor class star Dreadnought. So that I shared on Twitter, the image that I shared on Twitter about the poll last night, that is the Pelion class, which is it's very unique how it looks. It looks like a big, huge, sharp triangle or like wedge, and how it looks like a lot of its I wouldn't say housing, but a lot of like the characteristics go all the way down the middle of it. So you got to take a look at that. And then the turbulent class is a small star destroyer fielded towards the end of the Second Galactic War. So that's during the time of Darth Plagueis, and when Natasi Dala then was became the head of state, I guess you could say, or chancellor or whatever. And so that's during that time frame. And so we are at, here's the standing so far. The Venerator class is at 58%. The Nebula Defender class is at 25%. The Pelion and Turbulent class are both at 8%. So again, I just wanted to give you guys who are coming in a little bit of history on that so you can decide what you want. Venerator class, Clone Wars era. Nebula Defender class, Yuuzhan Vong era. Pelion class, Fell Empire era. And Turbulent class, Second Galactic War era. So there you go. Yeah, so let's see here. And Benzo says, I was just wondering if they're changing it to justify those one of their characters. Oh, the chosen one. There's kind of, they're trying to weave in their own characters or their own species or whatever into the lore so that it can also impact the movies and be part of the movies, I guess you could say. So we'll get into that. We will get into that now. So let me go ahead and bring up. We'll just do cringe factor now, and then we'll get into the lore after. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me see here, make sure I have the right one up. There we go. Okay, go. It's loading in, and it is up. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Why are you taking your time? I think my screen froze. There we go. Oh, we're gonna have problems with you. So hopefully you guys see that, and I'm not sound like a friggin' robot or anything like that. I apologize. Like I said last night, my internet has been really shitty. I don't know, because we are the tribal community, the reservation I live on, they're rewiring and installing a huge new internet system here for the rancheria or for the reservation. And so hopefully by the time that's all settled, I'll have new, faster connection and I won't be having any problems here. So I'm excited for that. So here's, and of course, Cringe Factor is always about pulling up these shitty pop culture sites and laughing, cringing, discussing some truths too behind what's going on that we have pointed out on the spacing before. And I can't wait till we get back to spacing because I have so much to say about a lot of shit that's been going on lately. Like how people are saying Andor is way better than George Lucas's original trilogy, which is bullshit. I'm glad that people do like it, but a lot of people are saying it's slow, it's boring, it's not interesting, whatever. So wherever you stand on that, that's fine. However, it's not what George ever did. But that is a different topic. So I won't be that much to say. Let's see here. Where is it at? Come on now. Work for me. Okay, so Casparius, hello, how are you? And then we have, come on, work for me. Howdy, this should be interesting. Yes, it should. Yes, it should. Have 50 people here. Thank you so much for coming in. I haven't seen Soul Assassin today, so hopefully he's okay. He's usually modding. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully everything's going on good in his life and that he's just busy and couldn't make it in today. And then I had Dadman Walking, another channel member. Thank you so much. And again, join me on Rumble. OG Stars, all in capital letters. And then become a channel member, support the channel. Also, check out my Redbubble merch site and everything goes in the channel. So thank you. Let's see here. And then there we go. Andor has been pretty solid, but better than the OT. Nah. And the bar is so low with the Disney Star Wars and their lore action of shows and stuff like that. And that it's like that's easy to beat. Now imagine if that bar was really high. Would Andor still be good? So just something to think about. Just something to think about. Let's see here. All right, so let's get into this article here. And I'm going to read it all through there because there's a lot going on in this article here. And of course, you see, here is Annie or Anakin, little Anakin. And I'm guessing these figures in the background are those nameless ones, the nameless here. And so I guess that those are those strange characters, and it kind of gives us a description on what the nameless mean and what they are about in the Disney lore. So new Star Wars theory reveals the real reason the Chosen One was born. So see, this is changing the prophecy why he was born. We know in Plagueis, and we'll get into this even more, that the Plagueis was manipulating the Force for himself to make him more powerful and to create some kind of army, some kind of Force beings he can use and manipulate to help control the galaxy. He was always into, expanding that, manipulating the midichlorians. And at one point, the Force cut him off from it. And then during that time frame of his experimenting, getting cut off the Force, then regaining the Force, all of that fine stuff, all of that stuff that is, said in the Darth Plagueis novel. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. The Force retaliated by creating Anakin. So Palpatine and Plagueis really didn't have anything to do with Anakin being created. Like, they didn't physically help the Force do it. The Force did it in retaliation. So what they were doing had the Force create him, in a sense, if that's, better way to put it. And now the High Republic is sharing something to where the reason for the Chosen One has been changed. So I'm going to see what you guys have to say before I read on. So, you guys are all chatting with each other. Okay. So this is by Thomas Bacon. So if I think you guys might be familiar with his name. The prophecy of the chosen one is of the greatest mysteries of Star Wars. Lucasfilm may finally be revealing why the Force lost its balance. We know why the Force lost its balance. I just said why the Force lost its balance. It's the manipulation and the increase of the dark side coming in, the Sith coming into presence, manipulating the galaxy, manipulating the Force, the midichlorians, all of that. So everything was off balance because everything was tilting to the dark side from what Plagueis and Palpatine were doing. And then Palpatine basically killed off Plagueis and inherited his spot and all this other stuff. And so Star Wars may finally be revealing the real reason the Chosen One was born. The Jedi knew surprisingly little about the Chosen One prophecy. Actually, they did know about it. They just doubted that Anakin was a Chosen One. It was part of a collection of ancient prophecies that potentially predated the Jedi Order itself, from a time before the Jedi and the Sith devoted themselves to the light and the dark side of the Force. Before there was that split in the Jedi, they were all one. There was a split because people started going more to the dark side, and the light is the balance. There's all that history there, but I'm not going to get into that. Maybe one day we will. By the time of the prequel trilogy, Master Yoda had actively discouraged the study of these ancient Jedi texts. He believed a desire to see the future could easily turn into an eagerness to control it, and that such study could therefore turn someone to the dark side. So basically, he's like, I'm going to discourage you from learning from the past and reading about the prophecies, because even though I say, look into the future, because there's that back and forth between Qui-Gon and Yoda, where Qui-Gon says live in the Force, like the living Force is like the here and now, right? And then Yoda always like oversees and and looks towards the future, even though the future, the Force only gives glimpses of what can happen in so many scenarios. So this kind of contradicts what Yoda teaches in a sense. And what he teaches is that you can't predict the future through the Force because there's so many different pathways, so many different ways it can go. So it's like looking into the future isn't a predictive thing. And even Darth Plagueis, so many years later, decades later, he, peeped into the future, but, everything he did was kind of careless, I guess you could say. And it's like I said, it's not a predictive thing. Looking into the future as a Jedi is not a predictive thing. And let me see here. No, it that big of a mystery if you know how to read. Yeah, correct. And then Batsy says, remember the time Disney said Palpatine was Anakin's dad? Yeah, they tried to pull that fast one on there, but then they walked it back and said, no, that's not really what it was. And Plagueis and Palpatine did a ritual that tipped the scales. The Force retaliated, correct, by creating, we were going to get more into that as we got into the Plagueis lore, but yeah, you're right, Orange Hat. Anakin, retaliated by creating Anakin. Disney would know this if they had any respect. The author would know this if he knew how to read. Yeah. And then Dadman says, interesting that the Force would respond that way but not unexpected. If my memory is correct, didn't the Force cut off the Yuuzhan Vong for messing with things? Yeah, over time, the Yuuzhan Vong started, going very dark and all this other stuff. And I wish there was more history expanded on the Yuuzhan Vong during that time when the Force basically cut them off, almost like they cut off Plagueis. And they started like trying to conquer the galaxy and destroy societies, and they just went very dark, and so the Force just cut them off. So this also has me question from the galaxy they are originally from, because they're not from the galaxy, like the Star Wars galaxy, basically. So does the Force even reside throughout the whole entire universe in this lore? So there's a little bit of thought, there's a little bit of I wonder. And I have bots here. See, Soul Assassin, where are you at? It's too early in the morning for them sex bots. Damn it. And it says always in motion is the future. Correct. So that there kind of makes me laugh. So what they said about, like, Yoda's trying to stop them from seeing the future and trying to predict blah 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 blah. No, he's always told them that looking into the future is not going to always be accurate because the Force is always in motion. The text of the Chosen One prophecy was revealed in Claudia Gray's novel Master and Apprentice, and I've heard people praise this. So be it. A chosen one shall come. It declares, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored. The core problem, though, is that this definition doesn't exactly help. The term balance has been left deliberately mysterious as well. Every Force cult appears to have its own definition of balance, and it's difficult to say which is correct. Well, if you followed George's intention of what balance is, and I will share a video on that here pretty soon. I just got to get it pulled up. I forgot to have it on standby. He basically says balance is the light side. Like, he gives descriptions of what the light and dark is versus, like greed, possession, and then light is selflessness, helping others, blah 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 blah. And then he also gives, like, the balance is basically light. That's basically trying to do your best, remaining in the light, blah blah blah. And so if they followed what George intended, then they would know exactly how to word this balance, because it was never left vague in the original lore of Star Wars pre-Disney. It was never left vague. We knew about it when, Luke talked about it, when Jaina talked about it, when even Jason and Mara and those who know and learned about Anakin and what happened. And, because it took some years for, like, Luke to really pull up, get all the archives and get through what Palpatine gave out as propaganda against the Jedi, and what he hid about the Clone Wars, what he hid about Anakin, and all of that. So it took some time to get through this big mess that Palpatine left as propaganda, so people wouldn't uncover the truth about what really happened to the Jedi. And so once all that came about, and Luke started talking more and more about his father, what had happened, blah 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 blah, it's revealed what the balance was, and people talked about it. And then Tion Celusar is another one who helped with recovered a lot of archives from the Jedi and the Sith. And if you have the Star Wars Jedi versus Sith, book, that's basically Tion telling the story of the history of the Force, Jedi versus Sith, and even different Force societies. Let me see here. And then Lucasfilm Star Wars, The High Republic. Transmedia. Okay, so why is it called transmedia? I'm just asking. When it used to be multimedia. So we had, like, in George Lucas era Star Wars, we had multimedia projects. The very first one, I believe, was Shadows of the Empire. And then we have the Clone Wars multimedia project, and then smaller ones like Force Unleashed and all that. But so why is it transmedia initiative? Has stepped back in time to several centuries before the events of the prequel trilogy. And yet, for all that that's the case, it increasingly seems that the story is intimately connected with the Chosen One prophecy. So it seems like it increasingly seems that it is intimately connected with the Chosen One prophecy. So we're going to get into that. In fact, it could well be telling the story of how the Force lost its balance in the first place. So now we're going into these, like, theory speculation thing here that's going to lead up to what they mean about how the Chosen One was really created and what have you. Let's see here. The prophecy of the Chosen One is part of connected ancient Jedi prophecy. Have you noticed here now we have, like, all these ancient Jedi prophecies, and the Chosen One is within that. Qui-Gon Jinn was one of those few Jedi who studied these texts. Okay, so if Yoda was prohibiting people from studying, why does Qui-Gon have access to that? If he's prohibiting people to study because he's in fear of them looking into the future, trying to find the chosen one, which during this time frame, the Sith hasn't even revealed themselves. So why would anybody want to look for the chosen one when the Sith is still in hiding? Think about that. All right. And let's see here. Jedi who studied the text, and he was able to recognize the time of the chosen one was at hand because of his familiarity with the rest of this book. One of the most mysterious of these seemed to foretell Order 66, placing it in a very strange context. Okay, so here's a strange context. Only through the sacrifice of many Jedi, and I shared this quote on Twitter, will the Order cleanse the sins done to the nameless. So the nameless are those weird species, and we'll get into more of what they are, what is discussed or what they're about here in this article. I'm going to read that again. Only through the sacrifice of many Jedi. So this is like Qui-Gon's like, oh, this is Order 66. So this is what they're saying is Order 66. Only through the sacrifice of many Jedi will the Order cleanse the sins of the nameless, it reads. All right, so basically, it's not about destroying the Sith to create balance back, bring back the light that, Palpatine and Sidious and those that came before slowly tipped the scale on through, sorcery, or Sith sorcery and manipulation and all that. Now it's about the nameless one. And now it's about her to cleanse done to the. Think about that. So many people, I've heard praise the High Republic on Twitter, and all of these people are the standard Disney Star Wars fans that, and that's fine, sure, like what you like, right? But because there's these hardcore fans that really don't pay attention, this is another reason, another way they can kind of interweave to change the direction of the movies and interweave their lore into the movies and stuff, which goes against what George said about the prophecy itself. The prophecy isn't vague at all. It's not vague. In fact, it was, and so when you get like the book, I guess it's called, the prophecy's in there, and it's all blacked out. Sidious blacked it out because he doesn't want things to be revealed about it. So let me see what you have. Let's see here. Dadman says, and my internet's shitty. I'm so sorry, you guys, if I'm like, tuning in and out. Interesting that the Force would respond. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Sorry. And then fuck North. Time for the XXX fun laugh out loud. You brought it, man. Are your guest? No, I'm joking. Let's see here what's going on here. Seeing here, laptop that's being slowed too. I don't know. And then here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. Hello, you alls. Hello. How are you doing? I think therefore I am. And what are you enjoying? What are you sipping on right now? And go vote for your favorite Star Destroyer design class. Let me see here. It's like way to have these pop up, and I'm very frustrated with my internet. I was deciding not to do coffee chat, but I can't because next Thursday I'm available. So next Thursday is Thanksgiving and all of that. I'm just gonna hear. The thing about the EU, I've always viewed the Skywalker clan embodiment of in the Force. Powerful Force users keeping evil at bay, like the Belmont clan from Castlevania. You have a point there. You might have a really good point there. And let me take this down. There we go. Oh, it popped back up. I'm just like having a good night today. So sorry, you guys. So sorry. The just is the anniversary of Star Wars special. Oh, it is. I didn't even pay attention to that. Oh my God. Well, happy anniversary to the holiday special. And I do have, as always, and always welcomed and always with great gratitude. Thank you so much for Big Raj for the super chat 199 Canadian 199 super sticker. As always, I have always welcomed super chats. Thank you so much for the continued support. I never really press on them either. Like, please send me a super chat, blah, 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 blah. But it's always welcomed. I do want to get me a better mic. I do need to get me a green screen. All of that, a better setup, almost like a podcast, because I'm thinking about a podcast, but not Star Wars related, more of a yoga related kind of thing. So, but I do need the setup. So any little bit of money earned to the channel does go toward that. Also goes towards the bill of my StreamYard, all of that. So thank you so much for just what you can offer, donate, whatever. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see here. And then, OG, how do you feel about Quinlan Voss up the Ventress and hooking up? I don't agree with it. I don't. At the end of the Clone Wars, as he promised Kayleen, because she got pregnant from him, they formed a relationship, and he goes, as soon as the Clone Wars done, I'm bowing out from being a Jedi so I can be with you. So and then she ended up being pregnant, and after the Clone Wars, he survived the attack on the Jedi on Kashyyyk, and he was reunited with her and his son, which was born at the time. He basically left the Jedi were, and got to see what happened with them later on in the lore, and even their son, but we didn't. But I think that was a very wonderful conclusion between the two, for Quinlan Voss and Colleen. And yeah, so I don't agree with it. I don't agree that they took her away. They took her out of the story. They took his family out of the story. I don't agree with it. So there you go. Let me get back to this now. Little ad needs to get out of the way. I don't want you. So the prophecy of the chosen was part of a block of ancient. You read that only through the sacrifice will cleanse the sin done to the nameless, and they're saying that this is foretelling Order 66. So now they're saying that the Jedi, the purge, was basically the sacrifice of the mini Jedi cleanse done by the nameless, which means that it wasn't about, like, they're making it seem like now the chosen is not about destroying the Sith to create balance. So destroying the Bane Sith, the Bane era Sith, because that's where Plagueis and Palpatine and stuff, because they rose and so much dark power, and and now the Jedi need purge to cleanse the sin of the nameless. So we're going to go on with this. It's now clear Star Wars, the High Republic, is all about the nameless. The nameless are horrifying force predators who have, so let's go back to this again. So these guys are horrifying force predators, but that prophecy that they're changing, the chosen is through, this is about Order 66, only through the sacrifice of many Jedi will the Order cleanse done to study or find force predators. Yet they're saying the purge is to clean the sins against the nameless. Now, does that make sense to you guys? Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to read on. Who have been weaponized by the cult known as the Path of the Open Hand. So they are nameless. The nameless are horrifying force predators. So they're force predators who was weaponized by the Path of the Open Hand. So what kind of sin was committed against them when they were already force predators? This group believe that they've been Okay, this group believe that any being who draws upon the Force twists it out of balance. So the path of the open hand believes that anyone who draws upon the Force twists it out of balance. They are using the Nameless to kill Force sensitives. They have their prey, but see, the Nameless already are predators against Force users. So they're just doing what they were made to do, I guess. So they will, Nameless to kill Force sensitive. They leave their prey reduced to calcified husks. And even the most powerful Jedi cannot stand against them. Ironically, though, the Nameless are doing the very kind of damage the path of the open hand must fear. Justina's Ireland path of deceit reveals that the Force is torn apart whenever a Nameless has feasted upon a Jedi. So then, again, how is this cleansing, like the purge of the Jedi, cleansing the sins against the Nameless, when the Nameless, they're predators against Force sensitive and will drain them and all this other stuff? So again, doesn't make sense. Worse still, the path of the open hand appears to have set their sights on the temple moon of Jeddah. So this is going to get into Jeddah. Marvel Comics, Star Wars, High Republic. So this also gets into now, like everybody says, oh, Rogue One is the best one ever out of the movies. You know, like I said, the bar is really low. So Jeddah is a part of that. So this is connecting. This is like the garbage that's connecting to even the stuff that's considered good. So think about that. Even when you're supporting the so quote unquote good stuff, you're still supporting this trash that is undermining the original lore. Okay, but that's just how I see it. Whatever. Okay, Marvel Comics, Star Wars, The High Republic is exploring the history of Jeddah, which was seen in the big screen, Rogue One. Known as the Kyber heart of the galaxy, Jeddah was once ruled by the Jedi. So we used to have, was it Tython? Yeah, Tython, that was basically the home of the Jedi, or the home of the Jedi. And there's a lot of history behind that. We will discuss later on in another coffee chat. I would love to discuss all of the early Jedi history and stuff with you guys on coffee chat. That would be extremely fun. And then it also says Jeddah was ruled by the Jedi, and the High Republic era, it was home to many Force cults. And that's funny how they named them Force cults when in the original lore there was Force societies. So that's very interesting on how they're changing the concept of these societies and stuff like that to kind of mirror how people see things today, including the Wheels, the mysterious beings created by George Lucas himself. The path of the open hand have already arrived on Jeddah, mixed in with the countless Force cults attending the latest convention of the Force. The convocation, as seen in the story Peace and Unity by Cavan Scott and Andrew Baccardo in Star Wars: The High Republic, is the gathering in which the representatives of all the different orders are welcome to discuss mysteries of the Force. It is surely a matter of time before the path of the open hand unleash the Nameless. Okay, so we're going to get into this more, and then we're going to stop and we're going to discuss, because we're coming up on the hour, and I want to still have time to talk about Plagueis, the Chosen One, and the lore that we love to talk about. It becoming clear, Jedi is a virgins in the Force, a place rich in the Force that is crucial to its balance. So basically, when Jedi wasn't fully destroyed, but when they destroyed one of the main places, does that tip the balance off in Disney Star Wars? It's just a question. If that is the case, then the presence of the Nameless of Jeddah on Jeddah would do an unfathomable amount of damage to the nature of the Force. It's easy to imagine the Nameless rampage on Jeddah, leaving the Force out of balance. So I wonder where they're going with balance on this. Because already it's showing balance is between the light and the dark in the new lore, which George has plainly said that balance is basically the light, thus creating an opportunity. And you would think that the Force, if knowing the lore that was created before this, the original lore, the true lore, that if you had such beings that, were preying on the Force. Now we had like those like the Vormskers that preyed on species of the Force and stuff like that, but that was just how they found their prey and stuff. But these things basically want to destroy their predators of. So going and destroying a lot of Force beings, wouldn't the Force basically, like the Yuuzhan Vong, cut them off from it? And the Sith are Force sensitives, Force beings, right? So why would they only go after the light side people, but not the dark side? And this is why I'm saying this. And the creating an opportunity that could be taken advantage by the Sith. So yeah, so that's where I have some questions. These events are taking place 350 years before Star Wars Episode 1. I thought that the High Republic was about 200 towards Episode 1. At the time when Jedi believed the Sith to be extinct, but it actually possible for the path of the open hand has secretly been founded by the Sith Lord of High Republic era. Oh boy. Because the leader of the cult, a woman known as Mother, seems to possess the ability to manipulate others with the Force. Currently through the Nameless, do not react to her, which suggests she knows how to conceal her presence in the Force, which we already know that's ability. This then could now be how the Sith tilted the balance of the Force. So the Sith really didn't tilt the balance themselves like we see in Plagueis here. It was the cults using the Nameless to influence and kill lightsiders, change the balance so the Sith can take advantage. This is how I'm reading that. The Nameless did enough damage to the Jedi at Jeddah to give the dark side a foothold, and the Sith took advantage of this over the next 350 years, gradually maneuvering themselves into the position of potential power. They become the imbalance in the Force. The dark side itself concentrated within them until the Force finally responded with the birth of the Chosen One. See, there we go. Here it is. So because of the Nameless, and because the Sith took advantage and tilted the balance in the Force, Anakin was born. And so he was born to basically also go in and cleanse the Jedi and, for the sins created against the Nameless, which is not really given. It's not given why the sins of the Nameless needs to be cleansed through a Jedi purge. But a Jedi purge is going to help cleanse the sins, the sins committed against the Nameless, instead of the purge, helping the emergence of the Empire and tilting everything into the dark side more until we have Luke come into place and then start, bringing Anakin back into the redemption of his arc. See how that changes it? They are doing these little nuances to change the direction of why Anakin was born, why there was a purge, taking away or diluting at best or at worst, or whatever you want to say, the purpose of the redemption part of Anakin Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. Because the purge isn't about cleansing the sins committed against the Nameless. It's about the control of the Sith and further taking the galaxy to the dark side, which then stirs people like, Mon Mothma and all of them, which keeps Yoda and Obi-Wan on their mission to when the time is right, they will start training Luke and possibly Leia, and to help restore balance and defeat the Empire, which leads to Anakin's redemption. See how this compromises the story? Because reading all of this and now thinking about Luke's story, how it begins in Star Wars: A New Hope, this doesn't make sense. And then going all the way through the events of that timeline to Anakin's redemption, this doesn't make sense because now the Sith prophecy doesn't make sense. Even in the High Republic era, will likely cause lasting damage to the Jedi Order as well. The Jedi of the High Republic are servants of the light side. Well, no shit. And yet the terror of the Nameless will clearly drive them to go too far. The ancient prophecy foretells a sin done to the Nameless and ties in the has referenced the Nameless purge. Okay, there you go. So I didn't read all the way down because I was done after this here. So the Jedi are going to go too far and purge the Nameless because they're the ones who are destroying Force sensitives and blah, 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 blah. So they've gone too far. So now, in order for wrongs to be right, a purge must be committed against the Jedi. And that's what Anakin does, to cleanse the sins committed against the Nameless, even though the Nameless are evil son of a beeps that, we're finding out here. So, okay. And sins, I don't think sins were such a thing in Star Wars until now. I don't know. So meaning the Jedi must effectively commit genocide, such a dark side act which leave the entire Jedi Order. So if they're fighting against these Nameless to protect Force sensitives like the Jedi and other Force sensitive from being killed and destroyed, is that a purge? Are they purging or are they protecting? See where there's like this little fine line going on right here? Yeah. So there we go. Oh, and then I'm going to finish reading this. Such a dark side act would leave the entire Jedi Order tainted, explaining why that. So now in the Disney lore, the Jedi are tainted once you get into the PT because their people killed the Nameless, basically committed genocide. So now they're tainted. The Jedi need to be wiped out so they could begin again after the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And there you have it, you guys. There you have it. I don't know if you guys had said anything else here, but I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Everything leads to the sequels anyways. You got that right, Revan. And I already read that one. And sacrifice Han and Leia if you honor what they fight for. Yes, seems like Yoda would have been against sacrifice. So why would he hide something like this? Exactly. There should be no reason he is hiding anything like that because that would be something that would have to be explored and stuff. So they're making Yoda too a big failure towards big failure towards the Jedi, failing the Jedi, blah, 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 blah. So I know I'm glitching. I'm so sorry. It's this friggin' internet. Hey, OG. Hey there, Becky. How are you doing? The Nameless one feasted what? I'm really freaking confused. So these Nameless basically are base Force they feast on the Force sensitive. So they feast on, I don't know, and they leave them as husks. So that's what they're saying. I was going to pull up a description of them, but I didn't have a chance to because I was busy getting ready and feeding myself and stuff this morning. Why not make another prophecy? I mean, they are acting like there can be only one prophecy and keep changing it. Well, they said there was multiple in that book that Yoda's not allowing anybody to research and stuff, which is stupid because it's always good to know something about that. Prophecies sometimes come true, sometimes don't. Yeah. The prophecy has nothing to do with anything Star Wars that I'm aware of. Sticking to the mysterious prophecy that exists in the EU. Yeah. Let's see here. Spices that are thought bomb are spices, or you mean species? I am so confused. This is brain rot. I know it is brain rot. I agree. I like the meme that with a guy trying to explain his theory with papers and strings all over. Yeah, that's basically it. Because the nameless are basically predators against Force users, killing them, leaving them as husks. A cult takes them and uses them to their advantage, and then the Jedi fight against it. Yet they're saying the Jedi is committing a purge, so now they must be purged to cleanse the sins against the nameless. What the hell? What are we coming to? What the hell is this? Let's see, ruled by the Jedi. That sounds funny. It doesn't seem like the Jedi were ruling. No, they never were the ruling type. They never were the ruling type. I love seeing Ilum in the Clone Wars 03. Yeah, that's a great story. In fact, I still want to do a channel member watch party, the Clone Wars Part 1, and then eventually do Clone Wars Part 2. So if you are not a channel member, let's see, let's do this in December. I will set a time, but so that gives people a chance to become a channel member. So if you want to join in the fun and talk Tartakovsky's Clone Wars and do a watch party, which will be for only channel members of all tiers, so it doesn't matter which membership you purchase, you have time to get in, purchase your, so even if payday is on the 1st or around the 1st for you in December, treat yourself to a Christmas gift. Treat me to a Christmas gift as well by supporting the channel. Become a channel member. See, now I'm promoting, but hey, that's what I need to do, right? I don't like to promote. It feels like it's begging, but this is something given back to you as well in gratitude. So become a channel member by the 1st. And or even before the live stream or before the viewing party for channel members only, we'll watch Tartakovsky's Clone Wars together. We'll discuss the lore. We'll do part 1, and then we'll schedule a part 2. Or maybe we'll watch them all together. Well, who knows? Because I think all together like 2 hours, I believe. But I would love to do that with my channel members, to just sit down and talk nerdy about Star Wars, Tartakovsky Clone Wars, have fun, talk about the lore, all of that. The multimedia project that's tied behind that as well. That includes Quinlan Voss and Colleen. So, and even Ayla and all the like Battle of Jabim and all of that, all those wonderful stories are all part of that multimedia project. And it would be good. It'd be fun to talk with you guys about that. So channel members, there's an incentive. I haven't had a chance to do anything for you guys as of late because of the wreck and life, blah, 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 blah. So here you go. So if you haven't had a chance to become a channel member, get her done. Get her done. I would love to have you as a channel member. All of you guys, if you guys could afford it, all of you guys, I would love to see all these little green, outline names in the chat here, supporting such a wonderful community that we're all creating together. Revan says balance means the eradication of evil, destroying the Sith, according to George. Yeah, it's just destroying the Sith, particularly the Bane Sith, because they're the ones that are creating the imbalances by the experiments and all this other stuff that had happened. And the growing power of manipulation and what have you. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and get this shitty article off. Here we go. Hello. And if you're tuning in, and you know what? Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and check out. If you guys have not voted, you guys have chance here. It doesn't look like it budged since the last time I talked about it. So if you're tuning in now, go vote your favorite Star Destroyer design class. So Venerator from the Clone Wars era, it's called the Jedi Flagship, is at 58%. Nebula Defender class used during the Yuuzhan Vong War, that's very similar in color schemes and stuff to the Venerator, is at 25. The Pelion class, which is from the Thal era, and nice little fun fact here is that even Darth Krayt used it at one point for his fleet or whatever. And then, so that is one from the Thal Empire era. And then the Turbulent class, which is tied with the Pelion at 8%, is a small Star Destroyer that basically came out towards the end of the Second Galactic War. So there you have it here, you guys. So get your vote in, and then I will close it out. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the poll is ending. Thank you guys for playing along. Hey, no. And let's see here. So as soon as that pops up, let's see here what you guys have to say. So let's get back to the Chosen One here. So we did talk a little bit about the Chosen One, and I'm not going to really pull up the what George Lucas said. I'm not going to pull up the video because my internet connection is shitty a little bit, but we know what he said. Basically, he describes the light versus the dark, and he describes what balance is, and balance is basically the light. In short, it's basically the light. And what had really scared both Plagueis and Palpatine is the discovery of Anakin Skywalker by the Jedi, and word getting to them by Dooku about Anakin being born a virgin's born, with the highest midichlorian counts ever, and the time which he was born when they were manipulating the Force. And so that scared them to death. But then also Palpatine started thinking, if I can manipulate this boy, if I can bring him to my side, the prophecy won't happen, and I'll have the most powerful Force user ever next to me. So, Palpatine started, like shortly after, started really realizing the benefits, the potential of bringing Anakin to the dark side. So, I mean, I kind of condensed the history there, but so we had Palpatine and Plagueis scared to death about the birth and the discovery of Anakin Skywalker and all of that. So let me see what you guys have to say, and we'll get more into the lore. Let's see here. I'm going to make the screen bigger. Let's see here. Oh, Miss Martin Muses, and thank you so much for the 99 super sticker, and I'm pretty sure it's a rose. I just cleared out my screen here from, let me see, take a look. Yeah. Thank you so much again. All help. Everything helps. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm going to read the first one from you. All right. So I think I'm going to listen to Darth Plagueis audiobook later today. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm recommending it, highly recommending it. If you have the book, sit down and start reading it. If you have the Audible, listen to it, because to cleanse your brain from this bullshit that's happening. Mind you, like I said, they have this show that is considered good, even though I disagree with it. It's like slow. It doesn't keep me interested, blah, blah, blah. I watch movies that are intrigued spy movies, like they're trying to say this Andor is, and I've never lost interest in those. So I don't know what they're saying. It's just like it. I don't care, but it's slow and boring and what have you. Let me see here. And Revan says, that's right, Becky, with the sequels mostly. Oh, I'm sure you guys are talking about something I haven't read here. Makes zero sense, and it contradicts so many things in the lore. Yeah, George's movies and what he said, what he spoken about in about when he was making the Chosen One prophecy and Anakin's downfall, and what that meant. Wait, so this prophecy is told to the Sith? It doesn't allude. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That it's known, it's in the text that Yoda has, that he's not allowing anybody to read, but all of a sudden Qui-Gon has access to it. But what is funny is that it is revealed, and like in Revenge of the Sith novel, that you can't reveal, or you can't, as a Jedi Knight, you can't access certain archives in the Jedi Temple until you become a master. That's why it was very important for Anakin to become a master, because he wanted to have access to those archives. He wanted to see if there's a way he can find to save his wife from death. So, so my point is like, if Yoda isn't even letting anybody, including masters, access to that book, but Qui-Gon can, which doesn't make sense. So that I'm just trying to puzzle this shit together, and it doesn't make sense. Just like the nameless creatures, sins committed to them by the Jedi, but they were fighting to protect Force users from being killed by the nameless as predators. So yeah, Lucy, you got some explaining to do, and that's there's crazy lore. My nose is running a little bit. I don't know why. Okay, let's see here. This seems like a Sith prophecy rather than a Jedi. Yeah, I feel the same way. I think I'm going. Oh yeah, I already read that. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down now. I mean, creatures that are thought bombs. The way it sounds, thought bombs. No. It's a ability, it's a power, it's ability, it's a sorcery of like how the thought bomb is done and created. It traps them in. These people drain them. It's like they're almost like vampires and drain them until they're husks. That's what I'm getting with that. Another reason why we shouldn't buy the Legend Disney books version, just find and buy the original books secondhand. I agree. Another reason why I point out to find the originals as well is because they take out the acknowledgments that are in the original books. Let me see if I can find, I have my books right here. I'm going to pick up one that doesn't have any acknowledgments. Watch. Just because I'm talking about it. What can I grab here? We'll do Shadows of Mindor. Let me see if this has a good acknowledgement. Yeah. So the new printed Legends, Essential Legends novels with those terrible covers. I'm going to pull that up before we leave. We'll talk about that too. They take out the acknowledgments to the company, to the authors, to George. So they're erasing the acknowledgments in the original novels when they do reprints with the Essential Legends. It's like they are erasing history so that once people get the books that have the Essential Legends, that no longer exists. And then they can say, George never was involved. The authors never talked with each other to create this continuity. So it's shit. So there you go. So I'm saying they are very dishonest and shit. I just spilled my coffee. They are very dishonest with what they're doing. Yeah. So don't support that. If you feel like the legacy of how Disney Star or Lucasfilm was created with its lore and the novels, the movies, and all this other stuff, and who was involved is a very important thing to keep in front, then don't purchase those novels. Don't purchase them. Hey, Mr. Dystopian, have you read any of the Clone Wars adventure books? I have a few, and yes, I have a while ago. It's been a while. And let's see here. Becky Brown has this part 2. The Clone Wars is awesome since the Battle of Coruscant is in it. And the end basically is starting of episode 3. I agree. So become a channel member, you guys. And I will set a time after December 1st where we're going to meet for our first viewing of Tartakovsky's Clone Wars and discuss, the multimedia project, the lore behind that as well. Venerator class has a cool design. Yeah, that's probably what you voted for, right? Let's see here. And the prophecy misread could have been. That was just Lucas or Yoda doubting it, even though it's true. Because if he was like, yeah, it's true, blah, blah, blah. There's character development and all that stuff, when those kind of things in doubt happens. Yeah, Yoda was wrong about that when he said it could have been misread. Because it wasn't. Even George, George is the one who wrote the prequel trilogy, right? He's the one that he's the one who orchestrated all of that, with help of all his other people that were involved. So George saying that the prophecy was true, this reveals that Yoda was wrong about being misread. They didn't think that Anakin was the chosen one. They doubted that. And I think because they doubted that, they in a sense didn't steer him into the right direction. I'm not saying that Anakin's downfall was because of the Order. It was because of the manipulation. And Palpatine knew how to manipulate Anakin. He knew which buttons to press. And a lot of that had to do with his pride. And so that, I'm telling you, that's brilliant writing. That is such brilliant writing. And to hear people say Andor is better than George's movies is bullshit. Let's see here. Like even the manipulation of Palpatine's of Anakin from Palpatine is brilliant. Brilliant in itself. Soul Assassin, hey everybody, sorry for being late. Had family issues. I figured something was going on. Thank you for popping in and still, and I hope everything's okay. We are going to end here in another 15 minutes. Yeah. So what did I say I was going to pull up? Anyways, I forgot. And it says, hi all, it's been months. I know, I'm so happy you're here. How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh yeah, let me go ahead and do that now. Speaking of covers, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the covers from the new Essential Legends, and we're going to critique them real quick, which is going to go into how I am going to also set up a new series. I think I'll do it live. I don't know yet. I had you guys vote, and it was very close with me going live or me doing pre-recorded. But it's an artist view on the critique and stuff on the art of Star Wars, like the concept art of Star Wars. And I had a brilliant name and I forgot to write it down, which I'm kicking myself in the ass for. But it's basically as an artist reviewing all the concept art from the movies, the novels, all of that. Something fun to look at, like a little bit of history here about the artists, all of that. I thought it would be fun. I just know if it's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna be productive in doing a recording where you guys can watch and then comment, or if it's going to be a live where I do a live review and you guys comment and we chat about that. I don't know yet which way I want to approach that. That's why I haven't done anything yet. And I have 20 beautiful souls in here. Thank you guys for joining. And join the OG community on Twitter. Yes, so join me there. Balance is not equal to the light. Balance is this. No, it is. Balance is the light side. It's not yin yang. So that even George has described that balance is the light. So it's not in the middle whatsoever. Meaning being the order which is, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, I got it. I got what you're saying. Soul Assassin says the Jedi knew about the prophecy, but most didn't believe Anakin was the chosen one. Correct. And you just missed the main thing here. You're going to have to go catch the replay, but I did share the article with you, Soul Assassin. So basically, the High Republic seems like they are starting to change what the chosen one prophecy is about. Mm-hmm. And that the purge, basically, so Anakin going to the dark side, or the purge was the Jedi purge was also to cleanse the sins committed against the nameless, who are basically force predators who go and feed on force beings and leave them as husks. And because the Jedi fought against them, they committed genocide, and so now the purge must happen. And so Order 66, that's part of the prophecy, I guess. I don't know, who knows. So it's all just weird. It's all crazy. So after the Jedi, fought against the nameless, they basically committed genocide. So I guess they needed to be purged to have the sins committed against the nameless cleansed. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Like I said, George basically said the balance is the light side. I should have brought the video up. Okay, Palpatine knew the prophecy. Do you think the Sith didn't know? Do you think we would just stand by and allow this prophecy to come to pass? Exactly. That's why I said, like, the prophecy in the Jedi Path book is all marked out. You can barely even read what it says, because the Sith, it's also revealed in Revenge of the Sith novel that the Sith, as they were atoning for thousands of years, they were also studying the Jedi. So they were in plain sight, hiding in plain sight, basically. Studying the Jedi, finding ways to defeat them. Revenge of the Sith. All that says there, Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. So now the purge has to do more with a prophecy of cleansing the sins against the nameless, rather than the Sith gaining control of the galaxy. See the direction this is changing it? Changing the movies. Hello, Abu Na, sneaking in as I'm on my lunch break. Thank you. We're going to end here pretty soon because I have to go to work at 11 and I want some time to regroup and get myself collected so I can tune into work and stuff. So I recently read Plagueis before I started the prequel trilogy volume. Yeah, that's boycott Disney. And this is all tying into like Andor. This is all tying into the Rogue One because of all what they're using in there. The nameless ones remind me of the Stargate Atlantis wraiths, but they will eat anyone. Okay, I see. I don't know much about that lore, so I wouldn't be able to. So thank you for sharing. Buy original books. I agree. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to pull up the art and then we're going to just review that real quick and then we're going to end the show so I can tune in to work. Soul Assassin says, if they prophesize a Jedi purge, how come they didn't see the other 3 times it happened in their history? Like I said, it doesn't make sense. But the one reason why, how they're trying to make that make sense is that Yoda's not allowing anybody to read the text that has the prophecies in there, other than Qui-Gon. For whatever reason, Qui-Gon got to read it because he's the one that's seen everything coming. Think about that. Now, when you see Qui-Gon in The Phantom Menace, do you even think that he knows a purge is coming? Other than just knowing about the prophecy, which a lot of people know about the prophecy. Let's see here. Those new covers of the remakes are so ugly. Okay, let me bring them up let me go ahead and pull them up here because I don't want to be pushed for too much time here. Media. I made them on my phone and I'm on my laptop, so I have to scroll to get to them. So let's see here. Oh, here we go. All right. So let's go ahead and share that. We'll go through this real quick and then we will end on a higher note. Well, I wouldn't say this is a higher note. I was hoping to leave on a higher note by talking more about Plagueis and stuff, but since we are here, let me go ahead and take this off the screen and then I'll get to the other comments here. So here you go. So I did this the other day and I know some people had shared this out, like copied and pasted it. I should have put my credit on there for making this, but that's okay. As long as, people are sharing and, critiquing it, whether they agree with me or not, whatever. So we have these new essential covers here. And we have the Dawn of the Jedi. So the Into the Void. So Dawn of the Jedi here. And we have a character that looks more realistic. And, there's looks like she's fleeing and stuff. And I'm not too privy with the story too much with Dawn of the Jedi. That's one thing I need to explore a little bit more, I admit, because I just haven't got into that very first lore, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years or what have you. But when you look at the bottom one, let me go ahead and scroll in if I can. Yeah, there we go. So here is hers. Look at her face, her expressions, really well done. Good art. And here we go. So we get into more cartoonish. Now there's a style they're trying to go by. I didn't really look it up. But it's not as appealing. I don't care for it. And then you have Hard Contact. So we have Karen Travis is here. Hard Contact. So it's kind of dark. I've read the story. It's kind of dark. To me, this cover pulls me in. There's action going on. He is focused on something that's like to my side here. There's something going on. And you're wondering, okay, so what's really going on here? So it kind of brings you in. Then you have this. The perspective is off. You have the ship here. The perspective is going towards the middle where the light is. However, Are they focusing on what's in the light? Are they focusing on the ship? The perspective is off because we don't know clearly what the focus is. Where the focus, we know that he is, going at a potential target here. Here, what are they looking at? Are they supposed to look at the ship? Are they supposed to look forward? What are they doing here? Now, I like the trees and stuff. It's okay. It's a lot better than the Dawn of the Jedi art. However, it doesn't interest me. Hard contact, that doesn't tell me the name, the title, and the art doesn't really mesh together as this does with its title. So that's my critique on there. Then we're going to go into, and I decided to just pull up the image without the text on it. So here we have a painting here very similar to the Kenobi one, where you have a stylistic type of art. It is just one of Yoda's movie poses. So there's nothing very creative about that. It's one of his movie poses. I haven't decided if it was from Attack of the Clones or Revenge. So if you guys can recall, let me know in the comments. But it's one of his movie poses here. Not very, there's no really creative. It's just a rehash and then of a movie pose with just impressionistic type artwork and a little bit of, of impression, like I said, impressionist kind of deal. Where we have here, we have areas of interest that happen in the novel. Dooku is a major player of this because we get kind of a history between him and Yoda in here, and there's a lot of influences in here as well. It draws me in. I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? We have the galaxy behind, with these planets, and looks like Coruscant scenes here. We have Dooku with ignited his saber. So there has to be some kind of influence here. Does this explain, so if I'm first reading this, does this explain why he turned dark? Blah, 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 blah. What about Yoda? What's going on with him? He looks so determined here, blah, blah, blah. Now, this could be a pose of him fighting in Attack of the Clones. This kind of looks like that when they were knocking things down. So another rehash maybe of the posture again, who knows, but this one has more depth and stuff. So let's go ahead and see what you guys have to say with this. I'm going to go ahead and start here. I generally wouldn't be surprised if Karen Traviss is angry at them for everything they did to her, and now her series as Repcom got these first books and Legends books now, which annoys me. Okay. Hello to everyone in the chat. And let's see here. Other Jedi like Dooku thought they were the chosen one before Anakin showed up. Yeah, Dooku was full of himself. He was this pompous bastard in a sense. That's how I see him. Gotta keep quiet because I'm an Andor lover. Yes, you are. Shame to say. All right. Sounds like Andor isn't getting the views Disney wants since they dumped episodes right on TV. Yeah, that's a thing. I really didn't want to discuss that, but you guys go ahead and discuss it in the chat. Disney is desperate. Yeah. Let's see here. Becky, we love you still, Abunas. And then I only saw the first episode. Didn't Andor say he was fighting the Empire since he was 6? He looks much older than 6 in the first episode. He was, when you look into the stories and get into the stories, the shows, and the synopsises, and do your research, he never was fighting the Empire since he was 6. Yeah, so it's even said. So I don't know what that was. All right, let's see here. We're going to get ready to close out now. Should have seen my DMs this morning when I read this article. I need to go take a look. Hey, OG, I have a question. Why do hot dogs come in package of 8, but not hot dog buns come in package of 12? I don't know. I hate hot dogs, so you're going to have to ask someone else who's more experienced in that. I don't know why. This is making Yoda a bad guy. Yes, it is. Let me see here. And I'm trying to go through these real quick here. They're destroying my Dark Rendezvous cover. Dial's phone. Hello, Wade. Execute Order 66 on Disney Lucasfilm with extreme prejudice. There you go. If the prophecy is changed to this and the Sith knew about it, why would the Sith try to stop it? Sounds like Sith would want Jedi Purge, right? Doesn't make any sense, you guys. Let me see here. I'm trying to go through here. Yep, I agree. It's garbage. Look how they destroyed my Republic Commando. I know. So sorry. So sorry. Well, I don't know. I apologize. I didn't do the shit. So yeah, fuck them. Yeah, all of them are garbage. Why do they hire, or who do they hire? I don't know. People, well, I haven't looked into who the artist. Usually the artists' names are displayed when they announce this, and I didn't see them. Yeah. Republic Commando game had some same cover too. Yeah, they draw them together. Yeah, they did them together. In fact, I think I'm missing one of the Commando series that I have to get. And I think I have hard contacts. I know I'm missing one though. I still have to get. I've been meaning to buy it. So you guys, thank you again for tuning in. And I appreciate every single one of you with gratitude and love. I send out to you guys as well. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I am on Rumble. Everything is being synced from YouTube to Rumble so they can coincide together. So please subscribe to that. Thank you for those who've given some super stickers. Thank you so much for your continued support. Every single one of you. Again, become a channel member. Coming December, we are going to watch party Tartakovsky's Clone Wars and have some fun and nerd about and talk about all of that. So stay tuned for that. So if you haven't become a channel member, do so. If you need to renew, do so. Treat yourself to a nice Christmas gift, and that will treat me to a wonderful Christmas gift by having you a part as a channel member and being able to watch Tartakovsky Clone Wars together. So I'm excited about that. So you guys don't miss these opportunities. I'm trying to find ways of giving back and all of that. So yes, thank you guys so much. And if you're catching the replay, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate all of you guys for your continued support, and have a great day, and may the Force be with you.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Another happy landing.